Well, let's talk to Lloyd Russell-Moyle about this. He's a Labour MP. Lloyd, you're very welcome to talkTV this morning. How are you?
Good morning.
Tell me what you think about this, because just to give a bit more detail on this, the King Charles taking this issue profoundly seriously. Research being carried out by the University of Manchester alongside historic royal palaces. Buckingham Palace granting researchers full access to the royal archives, as James was telling us there. If it is found, and I mean we know the royal family historically has links to all parts of the empire and slavery as part of that, what do you think should happen, Lloyd?
Well, first of all, I think it's useful to know our history. I don't think that we should be people that beat ourselves up for things that we weren't responsible for. And personally, none of us were responsible for slavery. But knowledge is important, and I think it's a testament to King Charles that he wishes to shine light on the history and the past, because only by knowing our past and knowing our history can we look forward. Now, I think there is a different argument, which is particularly irrelevant, actually, about whether the royal family were involved, which is about how do we apologise as a collective, and how do we ensure that we make amends. Some people call that reparations. And that's about, I think, how we do it collectively.
I mean, some people would argue, sorry to interrupt you, Lloyd, but some people would argue, you know, we were the country. William Wilberforce was the person, the Conservative MP, who stopped slavery, who decided, who brought forward the legislation to stop slavery.
This is the great British story. We get things wrong, and we were one of the first countries to turn slavery into a mass industry, but we're also one of the countries, and we do this time and time again, that correct ourselves first.
And the Royal Navy patrolled the high seas, stopping slavery actually happening. And that has to be remembered as well, doesn't it?
Yes, well, exactly. So we are the country that developed it and got it wrong, but we're also the country that awoken first, became woke first in that sense, and stopped it and enforced that. So that of course is part of the story. But we want King Charles will want to know about what role his family played in that. That's quite right. Now, my friend Clive Lewis spoke quite well about this in a Westminster Hall debate when he talked about reparations. I've always been very hostile to the idea of reparations. I think that you can't go around telling poor people in Britain that they've suddenly got to start paying huge amounts of money out. But Clive talked about it in a very different way, and something that makes me start to feel like, well, there's a possibility. And he says, just like we did when we were part of the European Union, and we ploughed huge amounts of money in to those poorer countries to ensure that they raised up to the level that we did. Think about Poland, think about, kind of Czech Republic, think about those Eastern Bloc countries. Actually, we have a duty, whether you call it reparations or whether you just call it the Commonwealth, to actually start to really look about how, rather than treating our foreign aid as aid that we just give away bits about, we should be developing support and development programs with those countries, with the aim to develop them so that they have the standard of living and wealth similar to us. It's not about us giving money to places, but it should be about us working with those countries that we have historic links with through the slave trade, through empire, to ensure, particularly in the Caribbean that were affected by the slave trade, to ensure that they live decent standards of lives, to ensure that we can trade with them, and actually it will help us as well, just like we did with Eastern Europe. And I think that is a way of thinking about it, not through reparations per se, but through actual co-development, that we work together with those countries. And if telling that story of how we got there helps us to understand those links and those joint responsibility we have with countries, that is a positive thing. If it's just about us beating ourselves over the back about something we can't do anything about, then I suspect that is a folly.
OK. Lloyd Russell-Moyle, thank you very much indeed, Labour MP, there with his views on that.